For our second panel, I'd like to invite up Shilpa Green to the panel, Global Head of Omnichannel Commercial IT at Gilead Sciences. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Shilpa, and I work at Gilead Sciences. And Sham, I think you made that comment about AI needs to be like everybody's top of mind, and someone else made a comment about pharma. So pharma is a lagging factor for sure, and that's where I come from, but we're also into drug manufacturing, so it'll be an interesting conversation. So I'm the global head of omnichannel at Gilead for commercial IT, and we have a lot of experience in terms of what AI can do, but then it's the organization readiness that we're going through right now, and we'll see how that goes for us. I would like to call upon our panelists, and the first is Sudhakar. So Sudhakar, can you please join us? Thank you. So Sudhakar drives Sandisk Tech Strategy as the CIO. He is scaling operations and empowering high-performance teams to deliver innovation, inclusion, and measurable results. Welcome, Sudhakar.
I tend to take the same seat as Shesh. I've been doing that for years, so I decided to take the same one.
All right. Jay, you're up next. So Jay is the VP of Software Development. You can pick, it's up to you, whichever one you like. So Jay heads the innovation at Oracle, and he has 20 plus years of experience in IoT and intelligent collecting emergencies for modern workforce. So welcome, Jay. Nikhil. So the last time we had Apprise, I was a panelist, and Nikhil was the closing keynote speaker. So I had the opportunity to listen to him and hear about his experience. So I'm excited to have him on the panel as well. So he's an accomplished IT executive and a business strategist leading tech transformation at Boyd. And he is, of course, really experienced, and he has a long-term success that I'm sure he can share with us today.
Thank you, Shilpa.
Thanks. So this time we'll flip it around. I will ask a generic question for each of you, and maybe we'll start from there. Maybe Nikhil, you can get us started. And
sure.
So we know that AI is reshaping manufacturing today across every single sector it is. But can you share like real life examples? Because it is a hype about, we hear a lot about AI, it's everywhere, but can you share real life examples that you are using in your organization today and the success that you've seen or the failures you have seen around AI?
Oh, that's an interesting question. First thing that comes to mind is digital twins, but I think already a few people have talked about it. They're triplets or quadruplets by now, so let's skip that one. Let me think. I think someone brought up tariffs, so I'm just going to use that as an example. How many of, I'm sure everybody has, but how many of you have been following this soap opera called the tariff plan right now, right? It's a tennis match. It's 145%, it's 25%, it's gone, it's here, it's gone, it's here. So how does that affect a manufacturing company? I'm going to focus on that rather than the manufacturing process, and maybe this is getting a little bit into supply chain, but not really. Tariffs are not something that any company, especially at this level, can just absorb. It has to be passed on to customers, which means you have to update price lists. You have to communicate to customers first, but after that, within the organization, you have to update price lists and make sure that that's collectible, right? You charge them as tariffs. That's fine. Now, if someone just said, hey, from June 1st, the tariff is going to be 30%, that's easy. But the way the tennis ball has been bouncing around so much recently, what do we do? So we started off with, okay, it's a simple thing. We just put a surcharge, it's 30%, it automatically calculates, and it's done. But then, now we had this situation, or we still have this situation where it's changing day by day. And now we've got a plan for when we pay those tariffs from our suppliers, when we anticipate that material to come in, and when we would anticipate to ship that and make our pricing changes automatic to that time, And this is where we have started using, call it AI, whichever brand of AI you want to call it. But we have actually established a connection, believe it or not, to Customs Border Patrol using, just the standard ChatGPT or whatever models we're using, and getting daily scrapes of what the latest tariff rates are, and automatically changing our pricing in our system for in the future. So when it collects, we can do that, and generating automatic communications to our customers that this is what's coming at you. So just one of the examples. I know it's not purely manufacturing, but I think being on the second panel, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel right now. So.
Hey, this is more relevant, by the way. Tariffs is the new word we need to all adapt to. So thank you so much, Nikhil.
Yeah.
How about you, Sudhakar? Where did you go next?
So I work for SanDisk. I've been there for 6 months, still learning the ropes a little bit. But I've been to our manufacturing facility in Penang. Malaysia is amazing. One for our factory, it's lights out. It's state of the art. The second part is the fish is amazing over there. I'd like to talk more about that, but I won't now. But our factory is pretty amazing. We have a digital twin, like Nikhil said, but we've been augmenting it with a lot of AI capabilities. For example, we just got an award, by the way, 2 months back, Malaysia Tech Excellence, where we put in a model, we call it Vision AIoT. It's Vision AI and IoT combined. It essentially detects what's happening on the floor. Is it a human? Is it a machine? Depending on that, we send signals to our lighting, sustainability, and so on and so forth. So bottom line savings makes a tremendous impact with respect to what we're doing. And we also did something else with another model, multi-LLM, model LLM with Vision AI and everything else. We created that, and the entire factory operations is managed through a control center that is powered by this LLM. So this is, again, past few years we've done it. Not many people on the floor, but everybody in the control center is operating out of the signals that are getting from this LLM. So lots of practical examples. We're still scratching the surface, I would say. There's still a long way to go.
That really sounds interesting. I think you should explore more on this Vision AI. But the fish was definitely the highlight
Another
of
session
your
for that one, yeah.
How about you, Jay, at Oracle? What's happening?
Sure, yeah. So thank you first for inviting me here. So I'm a techie, and I'm sure many of you are programmers too, but I spend most of my time in front of a screen. So I'll give you a bit of a techie perspective. So technology has changed so much, and especially enabling AI. So, I mean, there are enablers like OT-IT integration that John referred to earlier, and things like standards like MQTT and OPC UA, and other kinds of IoT gateways that have come in that have enabled bringing in data from factory floor and integrating that with enterprise systems to create unified data lakes. I mean, whether you call it data lakes, data warehouses, data clouds, lake house, thank you. There's a new term every other day, but it doesn't matter. There is a unified data store with a single data model. And that's a big, big driving factor in terms of what's enabling AI right now. The other thing that I'm really excited about is edge AI. So what this unified data store does, and with advent of new technologies such as Kubernetes, that you can run on a Raspberry Pi, essentially a really small device, you can now train your models in the cloud and push them to little devices. Vision AI IoT is a great example of that. And you can leverage AI running on the edge on a little device. I mean, we all use Nest cameras and other devices which are running AI models right now. And those are appearing on the factory floor. They are driving amazing efficiency right now. That's something which we're really excited about. The third thing is collaboration, honestly. I mean, we don't always talk about how AI enables collaboration, but just the fact, like supply chain visibility, Alison, you spoke about, visibility is about driving collaboration at the end of the day. So AI enables driving a tremendous amount of collaboration, and that's something we're seeing in manufacturing plants. Manufacturing tends to be siloed in many areas, in many companies, And what I think AI and these technologies are doing is kind of opening it up to the rest of the organization, bringing manufacturing, making it part of the entire enterprise. But you asked for a specific example of how some of the customers may be using it. And one example that came to mind when you spoke about Vision IoT was we have a customer who does a pretty good job using computer vision to detect anomalies on the factory floor. Like they have a high volume kind of environment, whereas things come off the stamping line. I think they make some kinds of automotive parts. They have a camera which looks for anomalies right away as soon as it comes out. So yeah, of course, as soon as the anomalies come out, they have an integration with their ERP and they report an anomaly. But that's table stakes. Where they went ahead with that and where they kind of brought more value out of that was, now you can take this, you can start counting occurrences of it, you can start correlating to the work order that actually was basically where that product came from. And now you can start looking at what are the materials that were used over here? Who was the operator? Start correlating all of those other factors that might have led to that anomaly. And that's basically, I'm sure many of you are already doing that, but for me, that's such an amazing use case because the sky's the limit on that one, on how far you can go and how far you can take that thread and keep pulling on it, and the kinds of insights you can get from it. This customer, they can actually, if they get a product recall, they can go back and start just look at the serial on that. Actually, it's not even serial, they have lot numbers. They can pull up the lot number, they can find the exact data in terms of what were the parameters that went into this particular order. What was the machine temperature? What was the pressure applied on the stamping machine? They can look at who was the operator. Here's Bob. Bob always screws up. So that's the problem. And maybe what are the other products that were produced on the same day. So it's just amazing how much this can do. And this was just traditional AI. There was no generative AI over here. So that's what it makes it really exciting.
Thanks, Jay. And hold on to the thought about the factory floor. We'll come back to it.
All right.
Sudhakar, maybe I'll ask you a specific question because we've been talking about digital twins quite a bit. At Sandisk, how are you using the digital twin technology for operational efficiencies?
Yeah, like I said, it's a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility, very intense. We do have a digital twin that's been deployed a couple of years back. It's a virtual replica of everything that we have in the factory. The equipment, the tooling, the production line, everything is available in the digital twin. And we use that for simulation, process optimization. Anytime you want to introduce a new product, you want to run a new test scenario, it's all done over here. And we also use it for defect and maintenance, as predictive maintenance as well. And then we also use it for onboarding our massive factory workers onto the ecosystem as well. So again, it's a well-established thing, but we are now starting to augment it with a lot of these AI models that'll really jumpstart and do a lot more. And I know everybody said it, it's all about the data at the end of the day. These tools will work, it's as good as the data, and all the real-time data and the historic data that we mine and put into the digital twin is what gives us the value over that.
Okay. Just me, yes. It is. It's working now. So Nikhil, question for you. AI in manufacturing is always associated with product customizations. So at Boyd, how are you using AI for product customizations to maybe improve customer satisfaction or again improve efficiencies, either process or operational?
When you talk about, so I think where we're heading towards is almost like product design, right? So I can give you a couple of examples. Maybe I'll give you one example what we do at Boyd. So as I spoke about in the last session we had, we are one of our main businesses is the thermal dissipation. We make things that take heat away from chips and things like that. So when you think about it, let's say we call it a cold plate that sits on top of the chip that takes the heat off of the chip. We've historically made those for many, many years, and we use, alloys of aluminum, copper, heat pipes running through it. And we've got a modeling tool that, again, it's more traditional AI that can predict how that would perform when it sits on a chip. Now, customers have different specifications. Every chip has different operating temperature for where the chip can optimally operate, as well as how much heat that dissipates. So, without becoming a metallurgist or an alchemist or opening a chemical factory, we have to adjust those alloys. Traditionally, what we would do is you literally have that. You'd have many, many plates of different versions of aluminum alloys and different copper pipe densities and all that kind of stuff, right? We've got a tool that we use right now that actually can simulate that. And so, we've had that for years, right? But the enhancement to that now is if it's not meeting the customer spec, even in the simulation, we can use just standard AI callouts to find the right alloys that would match actually those specifications and actually would work, and model those without ever having that piece of metal in our hand. And that way, you get to do all this in 1/10 of the time at almost zero cost, other than the cost of the engineer working that. So it's just one example, again, more traditional AI, but more traditional analytical and predictive kind of capabilities, but also using the AI tools that are available to us right now to bring it all back together. So that's one area I could say that we're using for, in that product design, product development phase, so to speak.
Got it. Thanks. Jay, so you work in a ERP your software vendor, right? I mean, that's what Oracle is. So how is AI transforming traditional manufacturing operations? And again, coming back to your factory floor example, in smart factories.
So we spoke about digital twins earlier. I think a few panelists have mentioned digital twins. But I think what doesn't get enough attention are digital threads. Digital threads are, in my mind, as important, if not more, than digital twins, because they can provide almost immediate business value. They are much more easier to implement. And I think they are much more acceptable for a lot of folks as well. So for us, what I mean by that digital thread is basically being an ERP software vendor, we have so many different modules, everything from finance to human capital management to CX to supply chain, but it's all built on a single data model. So one of the main things that we do is really try to strive to see where can we find those commonalities and where can we take workflows where we take insights from one area and then hand it off to another so that you can start automating much of the decision making, or at least augment the decision making in a way that people can make less errors. So we can now, with the OT-IT integration, since we have extended this data model down to the factory floor, the great thing is our digital threads no longer have to be just sitting in the enterprise, looking at finance and human capital management, but we can actually now extend the digital thread all the way down to the factory floor. If you run out of material at a particular workstation, we can actually automate the entire process where you are not only doing the replenishment of it, but you're also looking at the inventory, on-hand inventory, your in-transit inventory, and if you have to go and start a procurement request, you can actually go start a procurement request as well at that point of time. So there's a bunch of workflows that you can automate over here, and that's basically where we are focusing quite a bit of attention on how do we take these threads and make them far more pervasive, at the same time extensible. With agentic AI, that's one of the main areas where we'll see a lot more growth.
No offense to any of these systems, but I think in general, the enterprise experience sucks compared to our experience outside. And Shyam said it, AI is here, embrace it. we absolutely intend to embrace it to change that experience. We don't want our users to see the face of Oracle or SAP or Salesforce or anything. We want to push them to systems of record, but we want to give an agentic experience, and this is where we are exercising this very exhaustively in our space. So again, super excited about it. The underlying processes that Sej talked about and making sure that the data is all collated is super important, super foundational, but that does not have to be the experience for our enterprise users.
No, absolutely. End user experience is going to be critical, where you don't have to go to 20 different places to create agents, but have it all in one
We
structure.
believe that. We
Yeah.
believe no UI is the best UI. We're not there. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
Not yet.
Forms 4.5.
Tell me about it.
3.0.
2.3 is the next one.
Well, this was great. I don't know. Do we have time for one more question, or are we at time? Yes, I have time. Thanks. I do have one more question. And again, this is utopian world, 5 to 10 years from now, if you had no barriers, where do you see AI? And this is, again, a very cliched question, but would love to hear. What do you think in 5 to 10 years from now your world look like if everything went as per plan and we had completely embraced AI in manufacturing? I'm going to pick Nikhil. You should go first.
Me again?
Yes,
All
it's
right.
you again.
Oh my God. One word, Skynet, right? No, I'm sorry. No, that eventually is going to be that you don't need humans. Machines figure out what they're going to do and what they're going to build, what they need. But let's step away from that for a minute. You know, I think looking in the manufacturing space, there's product design and development, so prototyping and testing and customer approvals and stuff like that. And then there's mass manufacturing after that. And I think there's a huge gap in between those two things, from where it goes from the design build stage to now we can actually mass produce this. I think AI can help a lot in that in the future. When I look at one area where I think it can make a big difference is, and I'm not trying to take away manufacturing engineers' jobs here, but is streamlining that transition from when it's designed in a lab to when it can actually be mass produced on the floor. And for companies, many people here are from manufacturing companies. Sometimes that gap could be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months just to get from design to manufacturing. And I think shortening that using generative AI basically is once the machines once the models get smart enough to know this is what you want to make, this is how you're going to make it. I think feeding into that's something I'm looking forward to in the future.
All right, thanks, Nikhil. Sudhakar, do you want to go next?
I honestly don't know.
We all don't, but just imagine.
It's a wish list.
Blue
It's
sky,
not
yeah,
it's
just
not,
blue
it's not
sky.
what's going to happen.
Go for it.
Like make manufacturing great again, Yalo. No, I think just exercise the power of technology and automation to drive great outcomes, not just for the business, but for the planet. I think we can do a lot more.
Well said. Jay, last but not the least.
Sure. I have
Go
a bit
for
of a nerdy answer, but basically there are too many issues with AI right now. But I mean, we don't always talk about the IP rights issues. We don't talk about the data security issues. We don't talk about the data governance issues. We don't talk about the unreliability of LLMs and the hallucination. There's so many issues with AI in general right now, but everyone's looking at the benefits of it. So we'll just pretend that we'll somehow solve all those issues moving forward. But the thing that's pretty exciting for me are things such as MCP, Model Context Protocol, if you guys have heard of it, that's coming out of Anthropic, which allows tools to a standard way to talk to data sources. Another one that's exciting is A2A, that's coming led by Google, which will allow agents to talk to each other. So we can imagine a few years down the road where no longer you're integrating REST API. I mean, we spent the entire last decade integrating using REST API, integrating different systems. We may spend the next decade integrating using agents. So consultants, you'll have an amazing opportunity rebuilding everything you've built in the last 10 years as A2A, as agent-to-agent communication. But I think it'll be for much better. And as you said, it'll benefit, take away people from all the boring screens that they have been dealing with to kind of a much more better experience than what they've been offered before.
That's great. Thank you so much. This was really engaging conversation, and it was.
I have a question for all the.
All right, please go ahead.
We're all talking about AI, and I think we're talking about AI, and then she's hunting us, but we cannot forget about we are the humans. I just want to ask a question: what makes you, other than the business and technology and our regular life, what makes you super excited in a daily life to run your life?
That's a loaded question. I mean, what excites me outside of work? Is that what the question is?
Yes. I'm not going to talk about AI, all
Yeah.
this.
He's not asking about work.
I eventually want to win a World Series poker tournament, and I want to show up on ESPN final table. That's my goal. If I ever do that, I'll be super happy.
We'll be there rooting for you, for sure.
Because we need, in our journey, we need something which we can excite every day other than the work. We need to find out that as a humans, we need to carry that in every day. That's the reason I asked the question, so that it benefit to everyone. Jay, you also. I forgot to ask these questions for my other speakers as well.
Sorry.
Do you want to go ahead, Sham?
I think starting small. The one thing that I have done in the last 3 months. The one thing that I've done in the last 3 months, I would say, is apply some rules as simple as on my inbox, on my email inbox. That's doing bunch of stuff for me. So I have small minions who are running around based on my category of the emails that I get. They kind of do some tasks for me. So I love the digital minions that I have. So it excites me. I start off from there. So the other thing that I just implemented last month is there's so many dashboards that I have. You know, if there's let's say the color of these dashboards is not favorable to me, then it alerts me and stuff like that and performs the additional task to get things done. So these are small wins. I think start off from there.
Another small win that I'll say add to that is I love riding a Waymo and not having a driver and having it plays Choli Ke Piche Kya Hai when I get into the car. It's phenomenal.
I'm surprised no one said I want a Jarvis system. I personally want a Jarvis.
For me, I'm not really good in writing emails. A lot of my emails are like tweets for people that know me. So I use it to get better in writing emails on the work front. And then personally, you know, I think for me, what I'm excited about AI is in the medical field with a lot of genetics and gene sequencing, and hopefully with advancements in science that there's better cure for a lot of the rare diseases. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Especially focus on the way the thing to work.
Yeah, you guys
the
are being
question
too
was,
nerdy.
what do you do
too
outside
nerdy.
of work?
Outside of work. Well, I actually, outside of work, just try to stay off of AI, if I'm honest. It's so fascinating within the work world and the way in which, you know, I also try to use it in my daily life just to, again, like push education, you know, ask different questions and help myself out. But I think it's also that, you know, like that capability and competency to be able to step away, to still be able to, you know, use the nascent human mind, because it's such high velocity when it comes to the business world. It is a huge component of like how we all continue to talk at a business work level and structure, on top of like what we do actually enjoy at work. But I really try to unplug at night, every night with everything, because it's such a huge recharge. So that way, whether it is a personal item during the work hours or on the weekend, I still have the mental capacity and space to be able to enjoy it. It's not mind-numbing. So.
Anybody else wants to go?
Go ahead.
I'm always first, so I'll go last.
Well, does anyone do anything outside of work? So, oh, sorry. but basically for me, I think it's you open up the news and there's always so much gloom and doom, and it's tough to read the news, and just it can be depressing quite a bit. Just everything that's going on around the world in terms of wars and tariffs and everything else that's happening. But I think what makes me happy is this human connection. So when you talk to people, they're still you see goodness in hearts, and at an individual level, everyone is still so amazing to each other, and we live in an amazing place, such a multicultural environment, and everyone around, and this is what keeps us going, right? I mean, you can always ignore all the stuff that's happening in the world, still at a personal level. I see my kids, and they continue to be happy, and none of that affects them. That's what keeps me going.
Oh, wow. So first, I want to play poker with this guy. So I need to get your number, invite you to our poker games. But no, in all seriousness, fortunately, unfortunately, bad luck, whatever you want to call it, but I've worked for private equity companies now for a number of years, and it's such a high-stress environment. You can't just, you never stop working. That's a reality for most of us in this room, right? You never stop working, but you have to take time, do something other than that's not related to work. Otherwise, I would literally go crazy. So I'm an old guy. I still play cricket, right? And I play every weekend. And I go for practice every Wednesdays or Thursdays. And that's just something that keeps me busy. It gives me something to think about. And when I'm on the field, I'm not thinking about work. I know my phone's there, so at breaks, I go check my phone, check my email, check my text messages. I still got to do all that. But when you're on the field, you have to. Back up? Nope.
Turn it on again.
Oh, okay. Good now? Hello. There we go. So, yeah, where was I? Yeah, just even if it's for 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, or, a few hours on the weekend, do something that makes you totally forget about work, and that your life is so much better.
Any other questions?
It's great to see people here. So I was browsing a AI magazine, and the cover article says, artificial intelligence, less artificial, more intelligence. So I'll begin a little bit of that context. I don't think in my personal life outside work I'll ever bother about AI at all, worried about, or even bring any talk about it. I'm not concerned, but when you see the new generation students and scholars, I think more and more you deliver something as a package software to use, you forget about linear regression, curve fitting, how even you can see that how people, you may not need it, but how to build electronic circuits, processor, building things. So that's a perspective things, one has to think. So my 2 cents is use it the maximum to do whatever benefits your products or systems. That's number one. I see AI more as a process than a product. It's like a process. But what the panel today, lack of time, we didn't talk about the innovation space where we can do accelerated everything, innovation at a rapid scale, and that's where it is definitely very, very powerful, and the whole paradigm of research is going to change in many times, where you're just doing 5 samples and 5 data points and 5 publications to write a PhD thesis is just not bare enough. The scholars has to be told that, okay, first year you do what has been already done, and don't repeat anything using software and extend the intelligence, the next generation research, which AI obviously cannot think about it. But anyway, my question was outside work, I would not even think at all about using AI or any kind of deep learning or machine learning. Nobody talk about machine learning, but it's a tool within AI, but that's a different topic. But thank you, JP.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Anurag, can you also take a minute and then share about what you're doing innovation in healthcare?
Hello, everyone. My name is Anurag Mehral. I'm a professor here at Stanford School of Medicine. And obviously, AI has to be part of everything we do, right? Healthcare is a laggard in technology in general. But we are seeing significant moves from the tech industry into healthcare on the back of AI. And we are seeing a lot of moves by the next generation innovators. So I'm part of a Center for Biodesign, which trains innovators in health technology innovation. And in the last 5 years, we have had a higher proportion of innovations that have come out of our program that have AI embedded in it. So if you consider that to be an exemplar of what's to come, within the next decade, we see AI being underneath all health technology solutions. Right now, the early moves are in where the lowest hanging fruits are in terms of the process optimization or moving patients quickly through the system, finding where the waste is and so on. But we expect interventions also being enabled by AI within a decade.